House of the Dragon episode 5 definitely had some ups and some downs, but what was changed from the books for episode 5? Let's get into it. So, in the immediate aftermath of Princess Rhaenys' death at Rook's Rest, the book tells us of a spiteful altercation between Corlys and Rhaenyra, with Corlys holding his wife's death in battle against the queen. The series shows Corlys having a similar sentiment, but we only see a grieving husband haunting his hall and the streets of Spicetown, and considering abandoning Rhaenyra. He relays these thoughts to his granddaughter Bela, who defends Rhaenyra, understanding that Rhaenys gladly chose and embraced her glorious end, just as Lena had done and how Bela hopes to do. In need of loyalty from her strongest ally, Rhaenyra asks Bela to offer Corlys the title of Hand of the Queen. In the book, it's Jace who makes his grandfather Hand. At this point in the story, Fire and Blood confines Rhaenyra to grief and has Jace take center stage, so it's him making Corlys the Hand. I do enjoy in the show that they're making Rhaenyra more present, and I also liked how it's a conversation between her and Jace at the end of the episode that leads to the idea of finding other Targaryen blooded people to claim the riderless dragons. Alicent discovering the patriarchy is real and she doesn't like it. In King's Landing, the Green Council almost unanimously declares Aemon the prince, almost because Alicent puts her own name forward as a candidate. She is wary of her son Aemon and genuinely afraid of what he may accomplish if he's left unchecked on the Iron Throne, while her concern is probably in a good faith. The idea that the council who rejected Rhaenyra would accept Alicent is pretty ludicrous, and we can't really blame Alicent as a character, but rather whoever has been writing her this season. Her presence could be erased from the story altogether, and not much would really change. So back in the story, it was sad seeing Alicent hope to find support in Lares and Kristen and realize that the two men would rather be in Aemon's good graces than remain in her confidence. So Daemon's storyline, if we can even classify it as a storyline, it's completely made up and it differs from the book at basically every turn. He is still being plagued by absurd nightmares and visions sent by Alice. And again, we wonder, does Daemon think he should endure them because that she might reveal some more of his future? Anyway, the writers making Daemon's dreams of intercourse with his own mother is a bit too much, even for us House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones fans. Does Alice Rivers believe she is untangling all of Damon's issues in a weird Westerosi way, like therapy? But anyway, so far she has made him face his own mortality, his guilt in the shape of young Rhaenyra blaming him for his mistakes and later dying at his hand, and the late Lena asking him if he has been looking after their daughters, and now his supposed mommy issues. In one scene, Sir Simon Strong brings up Harrenhal's lack of funds, saying that Larry Strong has taken the gold of House Strong with him. Damon's refusal to write to Rhaenyra for coin reminded us a little of last season when he refused to ask his brother Viserys for help in the Stepstones out of his pride. At any rate, this issue also doesn't exist in the book, where it's clearly stated that, quote, in addition to the castle, Prince Daemon, at a stroke, had captured the not inconsiderable wealth of House Strong, end quote. This episode also twists the order of events to worsen Daemon's situation. Here, Daemon suggested that the Blackwoods conduct guerrilla warfare to get the Brackens to turn black, when in the book, Sir Willem does that of his own doing before the Battle of the Burning Mill, which happened in episode 3. So sometime later in the book, it's Aemond and Vhagar who burn fields and kill peasants in the Riverlands in the book, but never Daemon. The original story provides many parallels between Daemon and Aemon, but I don't really see why Daemon should also be responsible for the ruthless destruction of the Riverlands when he didn't order it. After all, Aemon is a Daemon wannabe, and I appreciated the shot of the younger Targaryen looking at the Iron Throne. The scene where a dozen of vassal lords and ladies show up at Harrenhal demanding an audience with Daemon in the middle of the night to accuse him of atrocities and declare defiance is impossible to reconcile with book canon, but also out of place for the show. Does nobody fear Daemon anymore? Or his dragon Caraxes to the point where they feel entitled to act that should call for their deaths? Fire and Blood tells a very different story where the Riverlands fiercely answer Daemon's call. The fact that Rhaenyra and Daemon's marital spat has become common knowledge both at Dragonstone and Harrenhal, and is openly and frequently evoked by anyone, is kind of like a soap opera. So whoever is writing these characters this season doesn't have much love for them, it seems like, because this prolonged storyline truly lacks sense and wastes a lot of time. Everything else that happens in this episode is either canon or has zero foundation in the book. Regardless of following the source material or not, we all know that changes can sometimes be a good thing, and it's kind of my hope that the next few episodes will have stronger focus and storylines. Some other thoughts: we finally meet Lady Jane Eyre. It's also not how we wanted to see Princess Alyssa Targaryen for the first time, and we also got to see the real MVP of King's Landing, Cheese's dog, who is the most loyal dog I think we've ever seen, and Rhaenyra deciding to rely on Baela and Massaria for advice, I think is actually one of the best things they've done this season, and hopefully she continues to do that. What did you think of episode 5? Thanks for watching.